Are Ikwerre people presently involved in the revival, resuscitation, and the restoration of the defunct Republic of Biafra? Are Ikwerre people still involved, pushing for the restoration, the coming back, the bringing back of the Republic of Biafra, or not? Many people, especially people from the southeastern Nigeria, the present southeastern Nigeria geopolitical zone, are still canvassing for the restoration of Biafra. They are prominently at the vanguard for the restoration of Biafra. They want the nation of Biafra to come back. They believe that they had a country called Biafra. When it became extinguished after the war, now the people from that zone now seriously want it back. They want to have a nation of their own, to identify who the Igbo people are as Biafra Republic, or a nation called Biafra. Some of them, whether educated or not, still believe that there was a country called Biafra before. The late Professor Chino Achebe, is one prominent Igbo person who believed that the aspiration of a people to free themselves was smashed and truncated by that civil war. So, and in his book, one of his books, the titled one, There Was a Country. I think that was the last book he wrote before he died. There Was a Country. Biafra, of course, existed as a country. Unofficially, it existed as a country because it had the features of a government, of a country. The parliament was there, the central government was there, the provinces were all there. But you see, it was not officially recognized by world bodies like the United Nations, the European Union, the Organization of African Unity at the time. So many of those bodies did not recognize Biafra because it was not constituted, legitimately, so to say, in the eyes of those international organizations. But some of them believed that there was a country and that country should come back. Of course, it has now formed as an ideology of the people. It is now in the minds of almost every Igbo person to have that country called Biafra, to be restored. And I quite agree that not all Igbo people also, not every Igbo person buys into that idea of bringing back Biafra. Igbo people complain of marginalization in the political setup called Nigeria. They feel that they are marginalized by the rest of Nigeria, especially the other big ways like them are marginalizing them in the politics called Nigeria. Well, whether they are marginalized or not, I am not in the position to make a judgment about it. My concern is that Ikwerre people, in their unanimity, have distanced themselves from the agitation to bring back the Republic of Biafra. But they are not against the people who want it, predominantly Igbo people who aspire to have that country to come back. They are not against it at all. But they do not want to be involved. Principally because, in the past, they saw Biafra as an Egypt to them. They saw Biafra as a land, that posed challenges to them. They saw the defunct Eastern region as an Egypt. So when they freely walked away by the grace of God, by the handiwork of God, they would not want to be part of it, again, or to see it restored in the way that it will involve them. That is their position. That's their position. As a scholar who has taken time to look at the different segments and fronts in Nigeria, if you seek for my opinion, whether Nigeria is good to be downsized, to be fragmented, to be dismembered, in order to achieve effective political administration, I will subscribe to that. There is nothing bad in that if Nigeria now becomes, regionalized or dismembered in a way that we have now different political units or components, in order for it to be administered very, very well. There is nothing bad, because if you look at it, there are so many things that are wrong in this country called Nigeria. So many things have gone wrong, and they are still going wrong. Of course, the things that are going wrong are not caused by just one ethnic group in Nigeria. Almost every ethnic group in Nigeria, is guilty of what is really happening in Nigeria. The first republic we had in Nigeria, led by Sir Tafawa Balewa, was overthrown because of allegations and accusations of so many errors in the system. Corruption was very, very rife, very, very serious. Nepotism, ethnic, polarization of the country was in the minds of almost everybody. People wanted to lord over other people. So many challenges confronted Nigeria at that time, and those young soldiers struck and overthrew that government. From 1960 to today, power has never been constant. Police is still carrying out their brutality upon the citizens of this country. Police are fighting with soldiers. Where do you see that happen? In a civilized country where police officers will be fighting with soldiers, military officers fighting the police. Where do you see these things happen? Corruption is still rising every day by day. Nepotism is still there. Religious and political tensions are still mounting high and high. Fakery, counterfeiting, of currency and drugs, commodities in the market is a problem. All the creams we have, all the drinks that are imported, people have all flipped them. It is a problem. It is a very, very serious problem. You might look at them as minor ones, concentrating on the government, federal and state government. These things are also serious problems in the country. Nothing is working. The politicians are using the people's money to do anyhow they like, and nobody's asking them questions. The education system or the educational system is falling below standards. Morals are dying. Our native ethos are not being, preserved and obeyed anymore. People say they are nothing because of the influence of westernization, and they say it doesn't matter. So many things are not being controlled, are very, very wrong. So if you seek my own personal opinion, I will subscribe to the fact that Nigeria should be dismembered. Nigeria should be split into smaller political units for effective administration. You know, people look at it that because of the size of Nigeria, that a black person with his low mentality, with his low psyche, cannot adequately administer over the affairs of Nigeria. And if you look at it, it is of course obvious, because since 1960 to today, nothing is working. Nothing is really working. Nothing is working. The country is coming down and down and down, and people are resorting to self-help, to see for how to help themselves. Security is dying. Everything is really becoming very, very bad. And some people look at it and say they want their own republic, like the Oduduwa people are seeking for, the Niger Delta people are seeking for. The people who call themselves Biafrans are also saying, split Nigeria into pieces. Let us see whether, if Nigeria becomes smaller in size, split into smaller political units, whether the people that we will now elect and appoint to manage them can do better. So they are now asking for the restoration of the Republic of Biafra. If it is for these reasons, I will agree, and I will even support. But what I and my people, Ikwerre people, will never support is any agitation, any movement, any initiation that is being floated just for ethnic sentiment, because of ethnic grounds, umbrage, ire, anger against another ethnic group. You think that other people are the people doing bad. Your own people are not doing bad. That is not a good thing. That is the one I will not support, and I will also encourage my people not to support. For those who support the restoration of Biafra, as I have said earlier, there's nothing bad in it. There's nothing bad in it. But the default Eastern region was like an Egypt to them. And by the grace of God, they walked out freely. They would not want to come back again to be in the state they were before. Of course, they complain of so many irregularities, incongruities that took place during the time of Biafra as a country and during the time of regional governments. The people who were called the minorities in the East suffered heavily. So when freedom beckoned, to them to come, when it was given by God, God's providence brought it, about, and when it came, the people became free, and they are happy with it. So they do not want to go back to Egypt, where they were almost enslaved, segregated upon, dominated, marginalized, even in their own land. Of course, that was natural. You look at smaller ethnic groups, margin with the bigger ethnic groups. Of course, nobody will guarantee healthy competition in that midst. In that relationship, nobody can guarantee appropriate security in every segment. There were so many ills that took place during the time of the defunct Eastern region and that of Biafra. So if you now want to regionalize Nigeria again, and they want to bring in the people of Ikwerre and some other minorities in the east, in the different east, to come back and join, another eastern region. Many of them will fight against it. They will hesitate to be part of it vehemently. They will not agree. They will fight it because they enjoy their freedom. According to Chief Sergeant Chidawuse, during one-on-one discussion, he said it was an opportunity for them to be free, and they fought very, very hard to achieve that freedom. It was costly. People like the late Obazole, from Dio, part of Ikwerre, they spent their lives. Okomule one of them, they fought. The late E.A.D. Aleko, official, they fought. Emmanuel Origi, Obi-Wan, Elechi Amadi, they fought for this freedom to come. And now that it has come, they are enjoying it. So they would not want to go back to where they will begin to feel cheated again, dominated, marginalized, segregated upon. So that is why they say they do not want a part of the new Biafra agitation. But they wish their brothers and sisters who aspire for it well. They wish them well. That is what they want. Whatever that will make them happy. As the minorities in the different eastern region had achieved their freedom, they are happy with it. So the people who want Biafra to be happy with it, and they are fighting hard for it anyway. They are fighting hard for it, engaging the federal government, in constitutional debates, fighting it out using other diplomatic, of course, and undiplomatic, means to see if they can achieve and realize their dream of having the Republic of Biafra as their own. They are doing that, and there's nothing bad if a people feel cheated in a political system, in an organized society. If a people feel unsafe, their security is not guaranteed within the geography where they all belong. Politically, they have every reason, to look for a different space to operate. They have every constitutional right to do that. But of course, it must have to be diplomatic. You don't use, or hit up the tension, use crime, revolution, violence to go about it. But if you follow it constitutionally, legally, it might take time, of course, but it will be definitely realized. So when the people see and feel that they are not happy within a particular given environment because of the injustices, apparent in that system, they are free, of course, to begin to look for a better place to be part of. So the people who call themselves Igbo people are now fronting a different, agitation. An agitation to realize a republic that will contain all of them, give them a unique identity as one people, and see if they can begin to use that particular system to launch themselves into limelight and into wherever they want to be. So there is nothing bad in such pursuits, nothing. But as I've said, it should not, be done with violence, with anger, looking at other people and hating them. No, that is not the right thing to do. Use diplomacy, follow it legally, involve the international community to be part of the negotiation and the contributions to make it become realized. So Ikwerre people, for now, say that they do not want to be part of the Biafra that will come back, which can absorb them and accommodate them in that particular political setup, as well as so many other people. When I met with the former leader of Mosop in Ogoni, led the meeting during one-on-one discussion, he also told me that his people, are not part of that agitation. Of course, the Igbo is big enough. They have the human number. They have the resources, at their beck and call. They have the exposure. They have the contacts to realize what they want to realize without, asking for the help of the minorities. The minorities are too small, and they have the fear that they cannot be merged again with, a bigger ethnic group that can permanently subsume them and make them not to have a voice. So that is the position of Ikwerre people, as regards the restoration, the resuscitation, of the Republic of Biafra.